Think about the last time you walked into a massive modern hypermarket. You probably had a simple list: milk, eggs, bread, and maybe a pack of biscuits. But an hour later, you find yourself pushing a heavy cart filled with items you never intended to buy, wondering how a quick trip turned into a major expense. The truth is, the moment you step through those automatic doors, your brain is under attack from a multi-billion-dollar psychological operation. Nothing in a hypermarket is accidental. Not the lighting, not the size of the floor tiles, not even the smell in the air. Every square inch of the store is meticulously designed by retail psychologists with a single aggressive goal: to make you lose track of time and drain your wallet. Welcome to the hypermarket trap, the hidden science of how large stores control your mind. The trap begins before you even look at a single product. It starts with the physical transition into the store, a space known as the decompression zone. The first 10 to 15 feet of the store is intentionally left completely open, wide, and free of clutter. Retailers know that when you enter from a busy parking lot, your mind is rushed and frantic. The decompression zone forces you to slow down, take a breath, and transition into a relaxed browsing state. Once you're relaxed, the store immediately targets your senses. This is why the bakery and the fresh produce sections are almost always located right at the front. The smell of fresh bread and roasted coffee isn't just to welcome you. It triggers an automatic psychological response. It releases dopamine and activates your salivary glands. Even if you aren't hungry, your brain associates these smells with freshness and comfort. A hungry or comforted brain is a highly suggestible brain that buys more food. Right next to the bakery, you encounter the vibrant, bright colors of the fresh fruit and vegetable aisle. Stores use specialized lighting with high color rendering indexes to make these fruits look more colorful and fresher than they actually are. This visual explosion sets a psychological benchmark for the rest of your trip. It tricks your brain into thinking everything in this store is fresh, natural, and healthy, making you feel less guilty about buying junk food later. Now that your guard is down, the store guides you deeper into its maze, utilizing a psychological phenomenon known as the Gruen effect. Named after pioneering mall architect Victor Gruen, this effect describes the moment a shopper becomes intentionally disoriented by a complex, overwhelming environment. When the layout is a massive grid, your brain stops following a strict shopping list and instead shifts into an aimless state of exploration. To maximize this time blindness, hypermarkets have two strict architectural rules: no windows to the outside world and absolutely no clocks on the walls. Without seeing the sunset or a clock ticking, your internal perception of time vanishes. 30 minutes feel like 10, allowing you to wander further and fill your cart. And where are you wandering to? You're looking for the essentials: the milk, the eggs, the rice, or the fresh meat. But have you noticed where they are? These high-demand staples are deliberately placed at the absolute back wall of the store, and usually on opposite sides from one another. This is the ultimate layout trap. To get a single liter of milk, the store forces you to walk past thousands of high-profit, unnecessary items like chocolates, chips, and sodas. Every extra meter you walk increases the mathematical probability that an impulse purchase will end up in your cart. You came for a $2 carton of milk, but paid a $30 toll just to reach it. Even when you stand still in an aisle, your eyes are not free. The shelves themselves are a highly competitive battleground for your attention. Retailers follow a golden rule: eye level is buy level. The middle shelves, located exactly at the average adult eye height, are the most expensive real estate in the store. This is where brands pay massive slotting fees to place their highest priced, highest profit items. They want your eyes to hit these products automatically. If you want the cheaper, generic, or budget friendly options, you have to look down. The bottom shelves require you to bend over or search, relying on your physical laziness to keep you buying the pricier items. But there is an exception to this rule. Look at the lower middle shelves, the ones perfectly aligned with the height of a child sitting in a cart or walking beside their parents. This is the pester power trap. Highly processed, sugary cereals, colorful candies, and bright toys are placed exactly at a child's eye level to trigger a tantrum or a plea to please buy this, which exhausted parents eventually give in to. Even the shopping cart itself is an active tool of manipulation. Over the last few decades, the average size of a supermarket shopping cart has nearly doubled. Human psychology hates emptiness. A large, half-empty cart sends a subconscious signal to your brain that you haven't finished shopping yet, driving you to buy more just to make the cart look normal. Furthermore, have you ever noticed that the floor tiles in the expensive aisles are sometimes smaller or have ridges? When your cart rolls over smaller tiles, the clicking sound speeds up, making you feel like you are walking too fast. Subconsciously, you slow down your pace, spending more time looking at the expensive products in that specific aisle. Your ears are manipulated just as much as your eyes. The background music playing softly through the store's speakers is carefully curated based on scientific data. During peak hours, hypermarkets almost always play slow tempo music, usually around 60 to 70 beats per minute. Studies have proven that slow music subconsciously slows down a shopper's walking speed. By slowing down, you spend more time in the store, and a slower pace can increase overall store sales by up to 38%. Then comes the math trap, the illusion of the sale. Our brains are hardwired to read from left to right, a flow that retailers exploit using a tactic called left digit truncation. When you see a price tag that reads 9.99 instead of 10.00, your brain focuses heavily on the first digit, processing the item as costing $9 rather than $10, even though the difference is a single cent. They also use massive, bright red or yellow tags to scream discount, even when the actual price drop is completely negligible, because our brains respond to the color of a bargain before doing the actual math. These psychological traps are so incredibly effective that they have recently moved past simple marketing and entered the world of high-level politics and news. Governments around the world have realized that these store designs are causing a massive public healthcare crisis, subtly manipulating millions into severe obesity and heart disease. To fight this, pioneering legislation like the HFSS laws in Europe have made it strictly illegal for hypermarkets to place foods high in fat, sugar, and salt in prime psychological real estate. In 2026, it is officially illegal for those major retailers to put candy bars, sodas, or chips at the checkout counters, aisle ends, or store entrances. But a multi-billion-dollar corporate empire does not give up its profits so easily. The big story of 2026 is the intense corporate loophole war. Since they can no longer put chocolate at the register, hypermarkets are changing their formulas, designing products that just barely pass the health test to stay on the prime shelves. They have also shifted their psychological traps to unregulated areas, filling checkout lanes with tax-exempt sweet pastries from the bakery or creating massive confusing displays in the exact center of the aisles. This brings us to the final, most dangerous trap of all, the checkout gauntlet. By the time you reach the register, you have been walking through a windowless, clockless maze for an hour, making hundreds of small micro decisions about what to buy. Your brain is suffering from severe decision fatigue. Your willpower is completely drained, and your ability to say no is at its lowest point. This is exactly when the store hits you with small, high profit impulse items: cold sodas, single serving snacks, lip balms, and hand sanitizers. Your tired brain gives in, wanting a quick hit of dopamine to reward itself for finishing the core. You finally pay, look at your receipt in shock, and walk out into the sunlight, completely unaware that you didn't fail a test of willpower. You simply lost a war against an architectural supercomputer. But now that you know the secret signs of the hypermarket trap, you can fight back. Eat a small meal before you shop. Always stick strictly to a written list. Use a small basket instead of a giant cart, and never buy anything in the checkout lane. The hypermarket is designed to control your mind, but your wallet, your health, and your choices belong entirely to you.